impact how people choose to travel to campus. Essentially, your commute won't change unless you choose it, and the travel plan seeks to make sustainable travel a more attractive option to choose. And we do this by delivering a range of projects and incentives to support staff, students, and everyone in between when they're travelling to campus.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was very insightful. I'm sorry, I had to start recording the call without seeking your consent, so apologies for that, please. We had to do this just to keep record of our sections and for the people that are not here for them to have access to what we're discussing. So I'm sorry about that, please. Um, so going on to the second question, Rebecca, how will the travel plan address the needs of individuals with disabilities or those requiring special travel arrangements?
Well, through the travel plan, we'll be conducting a review of disabled bay provision. We're also implementing adapted cycle bays through our cycle security project, and we're also reviewing our pathways, walking and cycling routes, as well as how individuals with disabilities experience public transport. And if there's anything further, then we're open to feedback on how we can do this through our biannual travel survey, as well as through just sort of general correspondence to our events and the sustainability email.
Excellent. So that's to say that the travel plan also captures people that need special requirement for commuting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. The third question is, what incentives for sustainable travel are available for staff specifically?
The university offers a wide range of incentives, including ones for cycling, bus, train, and car sharing. Staff can access free cycle maintenance at the weekly doctor bike sessions on the quad, cycle training. They can buy discounted bikes through Cycle to Work and take advantage of secondhand bike sales and security labelling events that happen throughout the year. For public transport, staff can benefit from discounted bus passes, free bus journey, so taster tickets for new staff, and a 15% discount on rail travel through the EasyIt network card. Additionally, there are options for coach travel, rail season ticket loans, group travel discounts, and there's the Co-Wheels Car Club for short-term car rentals. There's also a free park and ride from Mere Oak, along with various other discounts through the EasyIt card and Enterprise, Halfords. The sustainability portal has details of every single incentive we offer, so please do take a look if you want more information about a specific one of these and if you think one of them might help you.
Yeah, I think I was about to ask where we could find this so many interesting benefits. The fourth question is, are there any major projects that we need to know about?
Yep, we've got a lot of projects that we're looking to implement through the travel plan, and these have primarily been decided based on feedback from the staff and student survey. Recently, we launched the new White Knight 20 bus service, which is the fast direct bus service to between White Knights and Central Reading, and this runs on average every 10 minutes during term time. We've had feedback from Reading buses and it's proving really, really popular with staff and students, which is great. You may have also seen that currently the library cycle store is being upgraded. This is expected to be completed in January, and this is the first of a three-phase cycle security improvement programme, which is happening across campus on White Nights, which are targeted at cycle theft hotspots. We're also looking to overhaul our electric vehicle charging provision, and this includes improving our current facilities, adding new charging spaces, and this includes provision both on White Nights and London Road. We're also looking to improve affordability of bus passes for staff. Currently, annual and 90-day passes are subsidised by about 30%, and we're looking to increase this to about 50% and to make that a more appealing and attractive offer to staff. We're also upgrading our digital maps so that staff and students can more easily navigate campus, and we're also looking to improve footways and cycleways on campus, particularly looking at the wilderness to the east of White Nights.
Thank you, Rebecca. Just a follow-up question on that. So when those projects are completed, how staff know that these are now available for them to access?
Updates are posted on the staff portal, so just on the homepage you'll see updates on various things, including sustainable travel, and there are also blog posts through the sustainability portal as well.
Beautiful, thank you. And the last question here is, in what ways can we provide feedback or suggestions regarding the travel plan?
I think in general, we're always willing to hear feedback or suggestions, questions, anything like that through the sustainability inbox. Attending of our events also offers a good forum for discussion in terms of feedback. In terms of formal surveys, though, the travel plan has a biannual monitoring programme. So we survey staff and students every 2 years, and we ask all sorts of questions about how you travel to campus, any issues with transport, and essentially this helps us to prioritise the projects that we deliver. We had our last survey in January of this year, so our next one will take place in roughly January 2026. That's the expected timeline there.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. And that's the end of the interview question. But I just wanted to ask something. Do you have any general comment about travel, about commuting? Just a general comment. Do you have any other thing to add or to say?
Um, I think in general, if you're struggling to decide the best way to get to work, then it's always worth asking what the best option is for you, and then we can help you make the best choice, or we can point you in the direction of any initiatives that could potentially benefit you, essentially. So it never hurts to try to find out more. And even if you just make one of your trips a week, not by car, then that's still a major improvement.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was really insightful. Um, So we've got some questions already popping in for you. I'll read the first one, and it says, with more and more people trying to be responsible and buying electric vehicles or hybrids, is there any plans to address the massive parking issue on campus?
Is this in regards to sort of too many people trying to park on campus or
Yeah,
parking?
yep. So it's
Yeah.
about saying we're trying to make responsible and sustainable, shift, and people might decide to now get hybrid cars or electric vehicles. So the question is basically saying, are there any plans to address if the massive parking issues on campus when people start getting these hybrid vehicles or electric vehicles, if more vehicles are being parked on campus, how is the university going to manage the issues of parking on campus?
Yeah, I think the parking strategy is under review currently. We've looked at things like parking charges, and things like that. And we're looking into obviously improving the electric vehicle infrastructure to support electric vehicles. Um, and I think it's a tricky one, I think, and we're also trying to encourage things like the park and ride service, so people aren't necessarily driving all the way onto campus. They can park off campus for free and get the bus to campus for free. And we're also looking at other areas where we can offer a service like that, but that will be a much larger sort of project to consider, I think.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers the question from Scott. There's another question to follow, and it says, why is there no university car scheme?
Um, I mean, we have a car club, so we have two car club vehicles on campus that staff can use, um, and basically hire on a short-term basis. Is
Really?
that the sort of car that you mean? Because that we no.
No, I
Mm.
was talking about more like the people like Octopus Energy. They do electric vehicle leasing schemes that don't cost us as a university anything up front. It comes out of a salary sacrifice initiative where people can essentially lease an electric vehicle. Money comes straight out of their wages. And obviously it's something we would, you'd think, support as a university. But there doesn't seem to be a scheme. I know there was, some people on the call might remember this, 4 or 5 years ago, I think there was a scheme, and there probably wasn't a massive uptake at that point. I think now with the way electric vehicles have gone, and there are schemes specific to electric vehicles, it's probably a bit more pertinent nowadays.
I think maybe, can I answer that one? Because
course.
I was here 4 or 5 years ago. So yeah, you're right, Scott. There was a scheme, and it was run by HR. So it wasn't actually anything to do with sustainability services. So it's run by HR at the time, and the idea of it was a salary sacrifice lease scheme. Yeah, it was, the plug was pulled on it, so to speak, due to various reasons stated by HR at the time, and in the years since then, the question has been asked again as to, can one be put back in place again? And the answer up to this point has been no. So I think from a perspective of asking the question, yeah, it's an HR question as opposed to a sustainability services question, I'm afraid. But that's where it's up to at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. And thank you, Paul. So there's another question here. It says, you mentioned the wilderness and improving cycling in that area. Are you able to say any more about this, please?
Yes, I mean, it's very, very early days in terms of that project at the minute, but in general, there were a lot of comments on it in the staff and student survey. If you've walked down that way, you'll know that it's a very dark, muddy trail, particularly in the winter months. So we're looking at our options to try and improve connectivity to the main campus to make sure that people can walk and cycle. And there are no sort of definite proposals yet, but that it is on the table, and that's something we are early stages looking into currently.
Okay, thank you, Rebecca. So that's all from the chat box. I don't know if there is anyone that's got any questions or you want to say anything. Please feel free. Okay, so we'll move on to Paul. Paul, we're talking to us on waste. So I would ask Paul some questions, and please feel free to drop your questions in the chat box, as well as if you want to ask them literally, you're free to. Paul, are you ready?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. The first question is, can you share any updates or insight on the university's overall waste management strategy?
Yeah, I'm just going to share my screen if that's okay,
Sure.
and then hopefully that will give you an insight. So the question is, can you see a slide that's now gone up? So
Of course.
yep, you can see that. Okay, great.
Mhm.
So this is just to give you an update as to where we are with our waste data, our waste weights, and so we have a waste strategy, and within that waste strategy we have a number of targets which we've set ourselves. This screen in front of you now then shows our operational waste weights from the last academic year, so this is 22-23, and so this is showing the overall weights for each of the different, what we call the waste hierarchy elements. So you might have heard of the waste hierarchy. The idea is that we should stop sending waste to landfill, and instead of sending waste to landfill, we should recover the energy in that waste. If we can't do that, we should be recycling it. We should be reusing items instead. We should be stopping producing waste in the first place. So the general idea is you are moving things up the waste hierarchy, so away from landfill and up towards recycling, then up towards being reused instead. So this is specifically set out in that manner. So things at the bottom are what we want to stop doing. because they have increasing environmental impact, and the things at the top are what we want to be doing more of. So this is the stats for last year. What it shows in essence is the total waste across the university was 841,000 kilograms, i.e. 841 tons of waste. This doesn't include construction waste. We keep construction waste separately. This is day-to-day operational waste across the campuses, but doesn't include construction waste. Main reason for that is construction waste varies quite a lot from year to year, and so can skew the figures quite badly. So we keep construction waste separate, but this is day-to-day waste. 841,000 kilograms, i.e. 841 metric tons, and then that's split then into the amounts in the column above that. So less 1% we sent to landfill, just over 1% to incineration with no energy recovery. Then just over 300 tons we sent to energy from waste plants. So this is residual waste that can't be recycled, but we don't send to landfill. 300 tons went to an energy from waste facility where it was incinerated to generate electricity, and that electricity fed back into the national grid. So that's 35% just over of our total waste. Then above that, a small amount of cooking oil made into biofuel, a small amount of grounds waste sent for composting, and then the line above that is food waste sent to anaerobic digestion, so 114 tons. Most of that's from our catering facilities, and although it says food, strictly it is both waste creating food preparation, so i.e. a lot of the food created on site by our catering teams, they cook from scratch, so there's a lot of peelings, a lot of offcuts of fruit and vegetables, which we collect, and there's also then plate scraps from front of house. All of that collected together goes off to an anaerobic digestion plant. That's where microbes eat the food. The microbes then create methane. Methane is burned in a big engine, and that engine generates electricity, which is then fed back into national grid. So sending food waste to anaerobic digestion is better, much better than sending it to landfill, and is better than sending it for energy recovery. So we segregate all that out, and that goes to anaerobic digestion. That was just over 13% of our waste. And then the next line up, sent for recycling, 371 tons, 44% overall sent for recycling. So that's metals, plastics, items such as equipment, electrical equipment that can't be reused and goes for recycling. So lots of different glass, other types of recycling included in that figure. And then the final line at the top is the reused or repaired. So 28 tons of items, predominantly furniture and electrical equipment, and also wooden pallets, reused or repaired, and then reused again, and that's just over 3%. So what we're aiming for, as I say, is to move things up the waste hierarchy, away from landfill, and so if you include the top 5 elements in the waste hierarchy there, they add up to 62%. So that's what we call our recycling figure. So our recycling figure, 62% last year, includes the top 5 items in that list. And we essentially have met our targets that were set out in the waste strategy. So our targets set out in 2021 in the waste strategy were that we wanted to send 1% or less to landfill. So we've met that in the last year. We wanted to recycle our recycling figure to be more than 60%, and that is 62% last year. So we've met that figure. And we also wanted to reduce the amount of waste we generated in the first place. So I'm just going to click forward to this graph. So this graph shows the amount of waste produced per person at the university per year. So this is kilograms per person, and you can see that since 2015 that amount's been going down. So it was just over 60 kilograms per person at the beginning of the slide here, there's obviously a dip in the middle for COVID years, for when we had shutdowns and things, but we're starting to see us being able to plateau again after COVID and hopefully then start to come back down again. But since 2015, so from 2015 to 2014, we've had a 31% reduction in the total amount of waste generated on the campuses per person. So almost a third less waste now generated per person. So that's our key target. Our key target is trying to reduce the amount of waste generated per person. And as you can see from that graph, we've been successful in reducing the amount of waste generated per person. So that's our sort of our update on our strategy. And let me stop sharing that, and then you can see me again. And yeah, next question then.
Thank you, Paul. That was really insightful. And the graphs and everything made it really easy to understand what the strategies are. The second question, I will just go straight to the second question. Could you share any tangible statistics on the waste and recycling we produce? Basically,
Yes.
just to help us, raise awareness among staff and, addressing skepticism.
Yep. So the key thing I'd say here is if you want to share any of that information, like statistics or stats or anything like that, the best place to get it is in our annual report. So our annual environmental sustainability report. And the environmental sustainability report has just been produced for last year. So again, I'm just going to show this to you. So I'll just share this. So hopefully, all right, there we go. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm just going to scroll up to the top. This is our environmental sustainability report, which has literally just been published, and it is going to be advertised a bit more in the coming weeks, but it's now available on the sustainability web site, which I can put in a link for you. But if you read this report, and it covers lots of different aspects of environmental management across the university. And let me just scroll in, there you go. So it's everything from energy, carbon, water, waste, travel, procurement, etc. If you go through this, you'll actually find in section 8, here we go, section 8, which is all about waste and resources, and the figures are in here that I just talk you through, some progress figures, and then some case studies as well. So if you're interested in any of that information in there, then that's available in our annual report. So that's the annual report. Let me just take the find the link for that, and then I can share it for you. All right. Okay, I'm just going to put this in the chat. There we go. Okay, so that's the annual report there. Link to that in the chat. So that, as I say, that includes waste, but it also includes a lot of other information in there as well. So it's worth a read. Okay.
Thank you, Paul. So it's good if we could just check it out and get other information about sustainability, not just about only waste, but it's really helpful. Thank you, Paul, for sending the link. The third question is, are there any new innovations or changes that will be happening this academic year?
Yeah, so in the last year, so I'll just talk about a couple of things that have happened in the last year and then potentially what we're looking forward for in the next year. So in the last year, we have properly rolled out collections for Tetra Paks. So in our catering facilities, particularly, they are now using Tetra Paks for milk. So they're supplied with milk in Tetra Paks by our suppliers rather than in plastic bottles. And so we actually are generating a lot of Tetra Paks now. So in the last year, we've put in place a Tetra Pak collection scheme, predominantly for the catering facilities, but they can be used by anybody across the site. But they are external wheelie bins located at the catering facilities, and those Tetra Paks, when they're collected by our waste management company, then go back to a recycling facility that is operated on behalf of Tetra Pak themselves. So they go back to that facility. The materials within those Tetra Paks are segregated out. So within the Tetra Pak, there's a big chunk of it is cardboard, but there is plastic and there is sometimes metal film as well. So those get segregated out, and then the different elements of that get recycled. So and we've got quite a lot of Tetra Pak going through at the moment. So so those are all sent off for recycling. So that's something that we have done this year. And another thing that we're trialing at the moment is the collection of expanded polystyrene. So particularly in DTS, so for the supply of screens, monitors and screens and computers, some of them have large chunks of polystyrene around them to keep them secure and stop them getting damaged in transit, and also some lab supplies also come in polystyrene. So we're trialing a scheme at the moment whereby we can collect that polystyrene on site, put it into a bulk skip, and then that goes off to our waste management contractor, who have a device which essentially shreds the polystyrene, and that polystyrene can then get sent back to a reprocessor and reprocessed back into new polystyrene again. So that is something that we are trialing at the moment. So if anybody does have large amounts of polystyrene, then happy to talk to you about how you can get involved in that potentially moving forwards. And then I think the major thing for the coming year probably is that we have a new piece of government legislation coming into play, which will affect everybody in the country. The piece of legislation is nicknamed the Simpler Recycling Scheme, and it's all to do with how councils collect waste and recycling from households, so on curbside, but it also does impact on other organisations and businesses as well. And so we're working through the process of what that will actually mean for us as a business, how it impacts us, and how what changes we might have to put into place in essence to meet that legislation. So it's going to impact our waste contractor first of all, because the legislation is written in a way that it's for waste contractors and waste collectors to implement, but the knock-on effect will be on us as an institution, but also on us as householders as well, because the way that our household waste and recycling is collected might well change as well. So this is something that's coming into play in the next year. And I think probably from the university perspective, the main change is that we might just need to improve some of our segregation for certain waste streams. So I'm working with cleaning services at the moment, porters, and trying to work out how it impacts us. But when we have more information on that, then I'll be able to share. But at the moment, it's a sort of something we're working on at the moment. So I think that's probably the main changes and the innovations that are happening at the moment. Obviously, the key thing for us is trying to reduce the amount of waste we generate in the first place. So if we can, work with procurement team, if we can work with individual departments and schools functions to try and reduce waste, and if you've got any ideas as to how we could reduce waste being created in the first place, then obviously happy to have a conversation and sort of see how we can work on that together.
Sorry, I was mute. Thank you, Paul. That was really interesting to know. The last question, Scott. Okay, Scott, do you have a question before we take the last one, or do you want to wait after the interview?
I'll go now if I can, please, because it's kind of relevant to what Paul was just talking about.
Yeah,
So
sure.
one of the big issues we see, Paul, in labs is packaging material. that is taken into a lab, a box is unpacked, and then everything ends up going down into the yellow box route because technically it's contaminated because it's been into a Cat 2 lab.
Yeah.
Have we got any solutions to that at all? Because I'm having this conversation across various schools.
Yeah. The main solution is to depackage it outside the lab.
Yeah.
That
just seems impossible to manage.
Yeah. That unfortunately is the number one solution. In any other way, the problem obviously is in a Cat 2 lab. If you've got potential for biological contamination or whatever else it might be, then considering everything as biologically contaminated means it's got to go down either the autoclaving route or the yellow bin route, presumably. So I think from a waste management perspective, so from my perspective, from sustainability perspective, I would say depackage before the lab. From your perspective as technical services, then obviously how that's done might be more tricky, but my answer to that would be depackaged before it goes into the lab, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's usually the academic community that have this issue, and we just tend to mop up behind type thing. There quite often isn't space to do that. So essentially they'll collect items from stores or have stuff delivered, and they'll go straight to the lab to unbox it, open it, and then straight away you've generated hazardous waste.
Yes, in essence, that's right. You've generated waste that has to be dealt with in a certain way, unfortunately. So I think that's ultimately the dichotomy of it. If it goes into the lab, it has to be classified. If it stays outside the lab, we can deal with it. And obviously there's a cost implication to that as well, because if it has to be treated as clinical or put down the autoclave route, there's clearly a cost to that. Whereas if it can be depackaged outside the lab, it's going to be a lot cheaper to then put those items down through a recycling route. So I mean, anything that can be done to keep it out of the lab, I think is the way to go.
So no magic solutions then, no.
No, I'm afraid not. I mean, BioCleanse, but not on cardboard, I would suggest.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. The last question is, are there any concerns? So there are concerns about the recycling, the soft plastic recycling, the co-op, the initiative co-op. Could you provide any updates on this? And
So as you may all know, the co-op on site, being a supermarket, do take back soft plastics. So their scheme is designed clearly for domestic style soft packaging, so bread bags, bags that come with the items from the co-op. In essence, that's what it's designed for. It is usable by staff. So if you have that type of soft plastics, then it can go in there, and so we've been sort of suggesting that if staff want to put their own domestic style soft plastics into the co-op scheme, that's absolutely fine. I personally am not advocating that we put other types of soft plastic in that scheme. I've never said that we should be doing that. So I think, yes, as a sort of a personal staff thing, if you've got your own soft plastics and you want to go through the co-op scheme, great. If we have soft plastics that are generated from university business, then at the moment, unfortunately, we can't do anything with them. They have to go into the general waste. Having said that, part of the simpler recycling legislation that I just mentioned is the collection of soft plastics. So by 2027, we should be able to put soft plastics into curbside recycling. So the legislation is for councils to start collecting soft plastics in curbside. And then the ramification for that for the university is that we should then be able to put soft plastics into our recycling collections from that point onwards as well. The reason that we can't currently put soft plastics into our recycling collections across the university is that, first of all, when our recycling goes to the recycling facility where it's sorted, they currently don't take out soft plastics. There is no availability within the recycling process to take out soft plastics. So if soft plastics end up in the recycling process, they just go through the process, end up at the back end as general waste and are treated as general waste. So, which is the same as if you were to put soft plastics straight into the general waste across the university bins. So in essence, currently, if you put it into the recycling, it will go for general waste at the end of the process. If you put it in general waste, it will go for general waste. So that's the current scenario. Our general waste goes doesn't go to landfill, so it gets incinerated for energy generation, as mentioned previously, but it will just go to general waste. In future, because of the new changes for simpler recycling, this recycling of soft plastics will be available, but we are bound, in essence, time-wise, by the waste contractors and how they can then set up their sorting facilities and their materials reclamation sites. So when we are able to do that, and when we get the go ahead and the green light, then clearly I'll let everybody know that is available, but it should be by April 27, I think is the time frame when it should be in play. It may be in play sooner than that. It may be in play 2 years time, but I'll certainly let everybody know. So my suggestion really is, if you've got domestic style soft plastics, then yes, the co-op scheme is available. Obviously from home, if you've got your own soft plastics from home, you can take them to a large supermarket and they will take them. But from a business perspective, from university business waste perspective, at the moment I'm afraid it has to go into general waste, but that should be changing within the next 2-ish years. So I hope that is helpful.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, Rebecca. Just before I open the Q&A, do you have any general comments you want to, if there's anything you feel like you want to touch or you want to talk about? Oh, no. Okay.
No questions either, so that's all right.
So, please, you can ask the questions if you have any questions. In our last monthly quarterly network meeting, we had questions around waste, and I felt it was important, Paul come for this meeting and just talk to us about waste, and I felt like this has really been very helpful. Myself, I've learned so many things, while Paul and Rebecca, while they were talking. So if we got any question, I think this is an opportunity for us to ask for. Or Rebecca, we could still ask Rebecca any questions we've got. Or we could put them on the chat box. I could read that.
I'm just going to put a link into the chat box for the sustainability waste web page, in essence, as well. So again, I put the link in there for the annual report, which has obviously got a lot of statistics and things in about the strategy and about how we've met the strategy. But if you want any information about how to actually recycle and sort of the information about what can go where, then the recycling and waste page on our website, I've just popped the link into the chat there for that. And equally, if you ever have any queries or questions, then you can send it to either to the sustainability email address, so sustainability@Reading, or to our waste email, which is just waste@reading.ac.uk.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Rebecca. If there are no more questions or anything to talk about, Lane, you happy to say something?
Yep. Hello, everyone. Has anyone got any general questions about anything that's not travel or waste at the moment? Okay, well, if there is, do butt it in. So am I wrapping up now, Caroline?
Of
Right,
course,
okay.
yeah.
Well, just to say, that was really interesting to hear about both the travel and the wayside and the innovations that are happening in both those areas and how targets are being exceeded. I mean, I work with Paul and Rebecca every day, but I'm still finding out more about what they're doing. So that's brilliant to hear. Thank you to all you champions who've given up your time today to come along. We really appreciate that. 2025 hopefully will be another exciting year for sustainability. And there's a couple of things I'd like to mention. Caroline, have you mentioned the opportunity log at all?
No, I
No,
haven't.
okay. Well, that's something that hopefully is going to be launched soon. So this will be an area for champions to access and put on any ideas or any thing they've carried out to do with sustainability on a log, so we can all keep track of each other and what we're doing. So that's one thing. And the other thing I'd just like to say is picking up from the discussion at the quarterly network meeting that we had recently. One of the things that was brought up was having a sort of campaign or a drive on a particular area of sustainability that you, in your various roles and various buildings around site, could take up and promote with your colleagues. So we haven't forgotten about that, and we will. I think focusing on energy use is one area that certainly I would like you to get involved with, and cutting energy use. But what's really important is that we're able to measure the impact of any campaign or drive that we have, say, for a month. If we can look at what the energy use was before, whether it's electricity or gas, and then we can see what the impact of the initiative is, I think that would be really powerful. Something that hopefully will inspire not only you, but your colleagues as well. So that's something for 2025 as well. If anyone has any ideas of what that campaign or drive could be, then yeah, we'd love to hear. So I think that's all from me. If there are no more questions, then I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I've only been here, as you know, most of you know, for a couple of months. So I'm looking forward to getting much more involved with OFF and champions. And yeah, looking forward to an exciting 2025.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Lee.
Bye.
Cheers.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye
bye-bye.
now.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Take
Bye-bye.
care. See ya.
Yeah, you too. Bye.